Good afternoon, everyone. I'm very excited to be here with you today. Very excited to share a little bit of information today in our coaching session about the new release. I'll also be very excited when I come in focus. But we're going to give folks just another moment to jump in and then we'll kick off. But today we're really going to run through a number of the new features that were released within VCIO Toolbox this release cycle. Some of the major release items that we put in, first and foremost, is the new delegation feature for GRC, which really gives us the ability to better collaborate with our external partners and be able to obtain information from our customers who need to contribute to a security-based assessment. Not uncommon that they need to contribute information on policies, procedures, and this really makes it a much easier process for them to engage, to add that information and move forward. Some other new features coming in. This is a big one that was asked of us to really help customers define for their engineering and VCIO teams how to find the information that's being requested on a standard. So I'll be building out and showing you how to build a new how-to item, which can then be inserted on any standard within your review today. Other items that are coming in, this is where we start introducing more cross-customer analytics into the system as well. One of the bigger items being a global scorecard view, where you can track all your business reviews for all your customers in one single pane of glass and measure who's above your overall client average and who's below your client average. In addition to tracking business reviews, you'll also be able to track any of the GRC assessment types that can be done within the security and compliance module as well. We've got some advanced customer rating controls. A number of our customers expressed to us that they want to have the ability to have more of a chance to kind of define what's going on within those systems. Basically create their own labels, create their own content. We did always give you access to the rating legend, but now you can actually give you can relabel any of the assessment standards that we use in Account Rater. And we've also added the ability to scale to up to 12 different measurements in that area as well. So we'll show you how that works. Another big request that came up in our for this period is predefined responses. So those of you that are familiar with the previous entries being a dynamic learning process as you type them out, now you can actually pre-build 5 different review items into that into your system as well. There are a number of other features. Those are the big ones, and it looks like we've got probably the majority of people that'll be attending today, as we're 5 past the hour. So let's jump into the system and take a look at a few of these. So I'm going to start out first with the delegate capability within the system here. So you'll see that when I come into a GRC assessment, there are some new components within the assessment. One thing you'll notice is now both in QBR and GRC, you have this little refresh toggle here. This lets you move between the two experiences, staying in the same customer really smoothly. So if you're if you've got multiple customers that you're managing both on the QBR and GRC side, this allows you to jump between their assessments very quickly. Small UI fix, but they're always helpful, right? Now, let's talk a little bit about what the delegate command is about. As I mentioned at the top of the call, one of the things that we found, especially as we launched the GRC and started getting feedback from a number of our customers utilizing it, unlike our QBRs, where we are responsible for the majority of the information that goes into a review, over here in the GRC, there's a lot of information we need to collect from our customers as part of the assessment process. So we really need those customers to be collaborators. We need them to be able to provide us with any evidence in the form of files, images, or other attachments that can become part of their report. But we do want to keep them segmented to just what matters to them, and we don't want them to have free reign within the system. So to enhance that collaboration, we've created this delegate feature. The delegate feature also allows you to bring external third parties as long as they're named as one of your customer contacts into the review. So if you're working with a customer and their software vendor or some other provider needs to be part of the assessment process, you can delegate questions out to them as well. So how we go about doing that is right here. You'll notice that we have this new delegate button that's over here in our right side commands within the question box. If I click on the person icon, I now see that I've got a couple different people I can delegate to. If I click on this one, I click on myself, you'll see that I now go into this delegation area where I am presented with the questions that I need to resolve, and I can review what's been assigned to each user. Now, honestly, guys, I made a little mistake here. In one sense, I chose a customer where it's got my actual email address. That won't make it to me for the next step in this process. So I'm just going to quickly assign myself as a delegate here as well. Man, when you do it live, there's always a problem. When I come over here, I think I should have a delegate assigned to me here. Yep, I've got this one right here. So I'm now going to assign this to myself. Again, I can see that delegate now, and now I can send that notification. Notice you're able to track the sent. You can send reminders as well, and that will just create another, email sent record. So you can really make sure that you're staying on top of this with your customer. Now, when I come over here into my assessment area, you'll see that I now have received an email with a temporary password for my user to be able to sign in. So you'll see now I'm able to go to my logon. Enter in my temporary password and log in. And now I'm brought into, in a moment, now I'm brought into my assessment area for my delegated partners. So you'll see here when I come in here, I've got a blank screen. Customer can re-enter this anytime utilizing their credentials. And we are now able to allow them to engage in the assessment. When I come in here, I'm able to answer the question, whether this is a multiple choice list, a yes, no. In this case, it's a text field. I'm able to put in that. I'm able to supply a note as well. I can even upload documents into this. So if I want to add a support document or an evidentiary document to be part of this, I can just click on it, name it, and upload it. At this stage, you'll notice that the customer has a couple options. Let's assume that I had delegated them out about 15 or 20 questions at this stage. They can save these responses so they can come back and finish them later, or they can complete and finalize. I'm going to click on complete and finalize. They'll get a confirmation box, and you'll notice that all their responses have been saved as final. Should they come back into this portal again, notice it'll show when it was saved and completed. And as you start answering new questions, you'll be able, or as they come in here, they'll be able to see the dates and times that they supported this activity. So now I'm going to go back into my customer or into my active portal. And now when I come into my active portal and go into my GRC for that customer, and go into the right assessment, which was the NIST CSF. I am in the wrong review. My apologies, guys. My apologies. As you can see here, I have made a goof. A Benepartum group is where I want to be GRC wise. And I want to be in the CIS version controls area. Perfect. Let's go to Benepartum. CIS. Sorry, guys, this is what happens when we do things live sometimes. And you'll see that I've delegated that question here. You're able to see myself as a delegate right here. I can see the responses back from the customer. Notice I've got their answer, I've got their notes, I've got their file. And if I go into the assessment, I can now import their notes into the vCISO review if I so choose. You'll notice we have a date stamp here as well. So we can really bring the customer in here. The customer shared with me their confidence level. This is a new thing within VCIO Toolbox 2, where you can assign a confidence level to the score. And then you can set your risk barometer up here. So that is really delegate authority. When you're done with the delegation from your resource, you can come over here into the question, click on delegate, and you can clear them from the experience. And this will give you the ability to resend a delegate to another user or send it to them in the next report after you close it. So the experience is really meant to be very simple. Add the delegate, send the email, let the user respond, and then you can decide how to incorporate that information. What I did neglect to say is notice down here in the reference and evidence links, we now have that, that response listed right here as well. So attached right here as well. So that evidence really comes in and makes it very simple for our users to join in. So that's an overview on the delegate piece of this. Now let's move into how to create how-tos within VCIO Toolbox. And for this, I'm going to slide over to our QBR area. And I'm going to go to one of my templates here. We're going to go to backup and disaster recovery. And I'm going to open up to the questions. Now, many of you are already aware, the question area, you can do any editing you'd like to the question. You can come in and edit the question topic, change weights. You can add recommendations to the recommendation engine. And now we've created the new option for creating a help or how-to information field. So I can put in something along the lines of backup directions. I could select an image if I want to. I can add a content over here. If I've got a simple link, and I'm just going to put a link to my website, I can put it here. And this could be a link to IT Glue. It could be linked to a SharePoint article. It could be a link to any information you would like. And then the real nice thing is you can add video. So I'm going to grab one of my previous videos from our trainings and grab that URL over here on my other screen. And I'm going to show you how we can build that out and then what it presents like within the customer or within your experience as well. So I'm just going to grab any old link here. And now I can bring that video link into the system and click save. So I've now created a new how-to article for this backup documentation question in our backup and disaster recovery area. Now, if I go into one of my customers and go to my backup and disaster recovery template, you'll see when I come in here to this question, I now have a new icon over on the right-hand side, this little life preserver icon. Any question that you decide to define a how-to, you might be defining where to go to find this information, outlining how to go to the RMM to get it. Maybe you create a hyperlink so you can drive straight to that evidence within the RMM or other system that's aligned to your customer. But you're able to come here and you will see the how-to information listed for you. Notice you've now created the how-to, the instruction. You've got a link to the website in the case here where I've added the video. I can even play the video right within this area as well. So if you want to create some how-tos using video, you can do so. But really what this is meant to do is give you the ability to add instruction where you need to give your users instruction in order for them to have an easier time completing this assessment. Certainly, you don't need to add them to every single question, but it gives you the ability to build some how-to instructions. And really, one of the things that I've always taught is you ultimately want to put the initial assessment in the hands of your lowest cost resources within your organization. And to do that, you really got to give them some guidance, and then you can use your senior resources at the right times, excuse me, within your review process, and allow them to support the user. So again, that's how we deliver how-tos. You build them within the global templates. They're then accessible from the question, and they will open up a slider that'll allow you to get that information and then return back to your question very easily. So now let's take a look at the new global scorecard that's available to you. So if we come over here into the CAM module, we're starting where we have a lot of cross-company analytics. As you guys know, we're able to look at the full global forecast across all your customers. We've got the full sales pipeline, and you can drill that down into individual customer pipelines under the sales area. We're able to report on our meetings and be able to do meeting compliance by filtering either a date, time, or customer in order to drill that information. And now we're adding a new customer analytic here with our global score tracker. So now as you conduct your regular assessments and build them out, whether you're in QBR, the business review area, or GRC, where we've got all of our different security assessments, you can now assess all your customers, and their scores will come into this dashboard. And very quickly, you can identify who's doing well, who might be struggling, and how they compare to your overall average score across all your customers. So you can really give your customer a sense now of where they sit within your client spectrum. Over here, you'll notice we have all of our different assessments. So as you start working on different security assessments for your customers, those scores will come in as well and can be tracked here very easily. So really what we're trying to do is give you some intelligence where you're able to kind of get a sense of what customers are in a challenging state, what customers are in a positive state very quickly, simply by coming into the key account management module and looking at your overall dashboard. And as we continue to add new templates into the system, those templates will automatically, dynamically build new columns for you for measurement. So again, I would say for those of you that have been using our system a while, pop into that global scorecard and see how things are going for you today. Next thing is our updates to our account rating tool. So I mentioned to you, we've got our standard 9 criteria here, and we've got the ability to build out your answer legend. But you can now go beyond that, and you can jump right to it from here where we've got our configure headings and definitions button. But when I click on this, you can now you can change the headers, you can change the ratings and what the rating definitions are. You can come down here and you'll notice at the end of 9 ratings, you've got some blank ones. As long as they're saying the answer says none within these boxes, it's not going to add anything new, but I'm just going to put in there for the purpose of demonstration. I'm going to put in new heading. And you'll notice when I add those headings and click save, if I go back into my account rater, I now see my new column, and down below in my legend, I see my values I've put together here to represent that. So really, we're able to now customize our scorecard so you can go beyond the criteria that we provide for you and really customize your account rating scorecard to meet the needs of your organization and really assess the customers in the way that you would like to. So, nice upgrade there. This was a recommendation that came probably from a dozen different customers who said, we've got some things we'd love to do beyond what's in the report for you today. And hopefully we've now answered your requirement there. Another thing that will really be a time saver for you is if you go into the QBR module under your settings there, you now can create predefined responses for use within your IT review. And going one step further, you can even put in your company name using an HTML tag here. So you can actually customize the responses like I often guide many of you who've gone through training with me here. So for those of you that are not familiar with the previous response function, inside of your IT review, we have a dynamic learning tool. Each time you answer a question field under the engineer or VCIO note, or if you're in the GRC under the vCISO notes, the system will catalog that response, remove duplicates and similars, and allow you to build a library of multiple choice answers to really help you streamline the process of conducting your assessments. We've now determined that we want to give you the ability to make your own predefined responses and have them available from customer one, significantly reducing the amount of time of building your dynamic library. Now, this doesn't take away the dynamic library feature. That still works within the system, but now you're relegated to 5 dynamic responses that can be built during this process. You'll see here that I've just added it in with the tag here as well. And once I save these settings and go out to my QBR and go look at one of my customers, you'll see no matter what question I'm on, when I click on previous entries, I have any of the previous entries that I previously built, and I've now added in my custom ones. And notice my HTML tag now inherits what my company is called here, in this case VCIO Toolbox Demo, and allows those notes to be ready for me for use anywhere I am within the system. So this should really, a lot of my customers have looked at building some standard ones. They've gone through and built those ahead of time, but you'll notice now that this gives you the ability to, take those previous answers and bring them in, and also leverage the ones that you predefined in our system as well. So again, you can find that under either GRC or QBR under settings. And that brings us to another little UI UX enhancement. We've now created the ability for you to add some additional coloring into the email settings. So as you're sending out emails to your users in the CX tool or in Business Insights, you can now create your own branding, your own coloring, and really bring the experience to be more in line with your overall brand plans. In addition to that, another small UI UX enhancement that was done, and I don't have an Insights template here, so let me see if I can go over to the security side of things and show you the collaboration email template. You now have the ability to add a subject with the link in all reviews. So for those of you that are familiar with the Business Insight, one of the things that has been brought up to us quite candidly for longer than it should have was that when you put in the link HTML tab, you couldn't add your own definition for what that link was. So it automatically just presented checklist. Now you have the ability to go link colon and whatever you'd like it to label it to be, and that will change what the assessment looks like down here. So you'll notice here it says assessment checklist. If I come in here and just simply change this to survey, you will see when I click save, it now will change that link to survey. So it gives you the flexibility to really do whatever you'd like to do within these onboarding and survey emails, and naming these things as uniquely as some of the reporting that you all do with your customers as well there. So that's just a small UI UX update, but it's definitely something that I wanted to bring to your attention, as that is probably something that I saw over a dozen tickets on over the last 6 months that people wanted to get built into the system. Coming over into reporting, we do have some new things around reporting as well. First thing you'll notice is we now have a trending scorecard, and these can be implemented within custom reports as well. So what I actually want to do is I want to go to a customer where I've got some more closed reports. And you'll see when I come on trending scorecard here, I'm able to show the information from previous reports. Now, candidly, because we're live, I am seeing a bug where I'm not seeing my other 2 columns showing, but you should be able to show comparisons for up to 4 previous reports and your current report. I know there was a bug fix being fixed on that. We weren't showing reds and yellows, so I might be showing a work in progress to you right now in terms of fixing. But to give you a sense of how it can look, this is what the trending scorecard looks like minus the reds and yellows here, and you'll be able to incorporate that in the report. So now when you're meeting with your customers, you're really going to be able to give them a good sense of how things have improved, what new things have happened, and where they stand over time as well. And that's something that was certainly a request for a lot of you. We've got some new GRC assessments, and I'm just going to pull these over to show you. But 3 new GRC assessments went into the system in this release. We've added the new FTC safeguards rule, which is really geared towards customers that aren't covered by any other compliance act. Things like auto dealerships, mortgage brokers, and payday loan operators. People that do financing, but kind of off the books or unsanctioned financing, they are now required to meet at least FTC safeguard rule standards. This regulation was originally slated for December 9th of 2022, and it was extended till June 9th of 2023. So now's the time to really get with your customers and work on, updating some of those or getting them set. And this can open up another assessment opportunity for you. Also, you can create your own custom GRC templates within the system. Now, we had opened this up to a beta group in our last release. A couple bugs were fixed, but now you can come into the GRC area, build your own template within the GRC area. So if you want to build your own risk assessment or bring in another standard that we don't yet support, you can do so. You have access to a couple scoring models, which exist right here as well. And basically you can build out your standards library, and it works exactly like any other assessment does within the GRC. So to get a sense of what that'll look like in the GRC, you'll notice that I've got all my standard reports here. Oops, I'm on the QBR side. When I come into the GRC side under templates, you'll notice that any of the ones that we produce and we publish to, you don't have any access to, but any custom ones that you build, you can come in here, click on manage, manage your questions and do any changes that you need to it and delete them if they're no longer required to you. So that was something that had been requested, and we were able to get into the system relatively quickly for you guys. Couple housekeeping things that came up in UI UX. There is now a mandatory import status. So for those of you that haven't been into your ConnectWise syncs recently, go in and make sure that you have set a default import opportunity status. This fixes a bug that had occurred in the past where if you didn't set that status and you were a long-time PSA customer, you might be bringing in opportunities that are no longer required into your roadmap review and creating false records and potentially expanding your roadmaps beyond what you wanted to share with your customers. So that is, you may want to go check your integration, just make sure you've got something set there, and then you'll be good to go. Inside of the meeting view, we've made a couple of changes as well. For customers that have, so first coming into the QBR side of things, for customers that are not configured for Microsoft Secure Score, the Microsoft Secure Score and MFA status fields you see here will auto hide. So if I go back out here and now look at a customer that doesn't have my Microsoft configuration set up, notice it eliminates those standards from your dashboard. So no longer, for those of you that have had this, occur since we introduced the Microsoft Office update, you don't have to explain why those values are 0 to a customer. Now, if you haven't set that Microsoft configuration or just haven't gotten the opportunity to do so yet, you can hide that from visibility within the report. Something I won't show you because it'll take another set of logins, but now if you are using portfolio users and sharing the views, the meeting views with your customers in a portal-like fashion, for those customers, they now have access to the strategy view and their asset lists within their reporting there as well. So now they can, view what assets are expired and what's going on with those assets. And then the final thing that we put into this list, a very small update, but now when you come over to your to-dos over here, if you're clicking on your to-dos, There was a challenge before where if you set your percentage to 100%, it didn't close the task. Now, and we'll go quote this, test 1, just so you can see that it's gone. Once I save this and go back out to my dashboard, I no longer see that opportunity on the list. Before, you had to put it at 100% and then click complete or click complete. So this just gives you the ability to move through things a little bit quicker. So that is a pretty high-level overview of the new features within this release. Again, the big features for this release: the GRC delegate for collaboration, the ability to now create how-tos within your environment, the global scorecard, and the new GRC templates are probably the big bang, big impact updates within this release. Oh, and your ability to customize your account rating tool as you see fit. With that, I want to open the floor for any Q&A. I know we're a couple minutes past our allotted half hour today, but we had a lot of ground to cover. If you've got any questions, please feel free to drop them into either chat or into Q&A. I now have it set where everybody should be able to have access to chat as well as our Q&A. I will tell you that next week we're going to resume some of our how to streamline your process and stay more engaged with your customer tutorials that we set out to do here in January. In next week's assessment, we're going to talk about alternate meeting types you can utilize to mix up the QBR experience a little bit with your customers. So please, looking forward and hope you join us there. At this point, I'm seeing you guys are always a quiet group, man. I got to figure out how to get you more interactive with me. But I'm not seeing any Q&A coming in. If you do see any bugs as you explore the new features, please send those over to support@BCIO Toolbox. Alex and the team over there will definitely be able to hop on those pretty quickly. If you have any new features that you'd like to request from BCIO Toolbox, please feel free to send those to features@bciotoolbox.com. It'll generate a service ticket, and we'll not only track that ticket, but we'll send you updates as the new update or as your request gets into the approval and then ultimately implementation flow. And, if you're a first-time attendee today, please join us each Tuesday as we do these open coaching sessions. And if you have any topics you'd like us to cover, we'd love to hear from you. So please share those with us. And as always, you can go up into the university under the coaching tools here and grab any of our previous recordings and be able to catch up on any of the trainings that we've done in the past. So with that, I want to thank everybody for joining me today for a half hour. I hope you found some of the new features. I do got a training here. How are we keeping up articles and videos with the current state? So as we put new articles in, we are replacing a lot of the university updates. Also, some of the most current information will be found under these QBR recordings, as we do follow a lot of the updates here. And you will also see in the knowledge base that you can access from within the university. You will get them. Jasmine, these features have already been released. You will see them in your system. They are live and actionable right now. So for example, going back to the previous question about, where will the new articles come into play? Here in our knowledge base, these articles are being updated all the time. You'll see this is where we already have new articles on delegation. You can see that they only lightly been accessed thus far, but that's where we're keeping up with that. And you can reach that at, if you go to our contacts page, you can click on the support link. It'll bring you right here. Also within BCIO Toolbox, besides in the university getting to the knowledge base, if you click on your name in the upper right-hand corner and click on support and contact us, it'll bring you into the help desk knowledge base as well and bring you into those articles as things are getting updated. You will occasionally find videos that, that might have a part of a feature that doesn't match up with what's on the video. Again, we try to keep all of our videos current, but with the pretty expansive video library we've created for you all now today, every once in a while we will see a video that doesn't have full functionality of every feature, but will show the one that you're working on very clearly. Any other questions I can answer before we wrap up for today? So with that, I'll say to everybody, please feel free to go in, explore. I'd love to get your feedback on what you think about the new features. So please don't hesitate to send me an email at bdoyle@VCIO Toolbox and let me know, what you like and what you don't like. I'm happy to hear either way. And with that, I want to thank you all for attending today, and I hope you have a wonderful, wonderful week.